I am just getting all of my stuff ready so that I can see what's going on here and see comments. So I have my little iPad over here, my little setup. So if you're here, I want you to say hello. Guys, this year has been interesting. I want to stay in a high vibrational space. Okay, so that's first order of the day. Remember, energy flows where focus goes. So I want to start with, first of all, love yourself. That's a rebel act, a rebellious act to love yourself. I want to start with also, it's a time for great self-care. It's a great self-care for yourself, okay? And thirdly, I want you to start I want you to feel your feels, because that's really important. And then be quiet, do inner work, and whatever you need to do to move forward, you do that. Okay? That's what my advice is, just in general, as we move forward through all of this energy. But today, I want to talk about 2025, the year. Let's be clear. So I want to talk about that. I feel like I want to preface with this. Before I pull any cards, intuitively speaking, I feel like 2025 is what we make of it. If we take back our power, and I don't mean in a political sense. I mean, period. I have been receiving the repeated message of, especially as women, it's time to take back our magic. So in 2025, I am committing to you seeing more of me in the kitchen, and not just me like going, oh, make this lovely lasagna. No, I'm going to share with you how I am going to evolve my kitchen to make it a magical kitchen, magical lifestyle, more readings. I'm going to share the spreads that I create. I have all this crafty stuff I'm going to share with you. About my grimoire that I'm building, and I'm learning with y'all. I'm embracing my witchiness. It's been 52 years, and I'm finally stepping into my fullness. So being a crone is delightful. I love it. So this year, that's my intention, because I think if I'm going to inspire, if I'm going to be told to share with other women, it's time for us to re-embrace our inner magic, our inner power, and all of that kind of stuff going into next year. I need to do it too. I'm like I used to say, if I'm going to be a manifesting coach, I have to walk my talk. Is that how you say it? Anyways, so that's what I'm going to be doing for the next year. But this right now is our seventh annual 2025, seventh annual New Year's reading, and it is for the collective for 2025. So I am so excited to do this for you guys, and I have my notes over here. And as I've said, I really feel like it's going to be a humongous transformation year for all of us. Okay. So with that said, let's jump right in. I want to go through what decks I'm using. I'm going to share the spread. I don't have a graphic to put up because this is a live stream and trying to do all the things. But I will share that in probably some of my grimoire pages coming in 2025 that I have been using for myself, that I'm going to start putting my book together. But I will share, and I want to explain the spread I'm going to do for you guys. And then I am going to, and right now I'm doing my sage because we need to clear some of this energy, you guys. But let's be honest. Oh, sorry. If you heard that noise, that was my ice maker. I have an ice maker now. I've been in the house now for, ooh, look at that. We need some clearing, y'all. So I'm going to clear all you guys. So just kind of push that smoke around you. There we go. Yep. I'm going to clear myself. Clear the space. Clear the decks. Clear the decks. And then I'm going to just put this over here for us to have. It's going to just kind of be off there. Yeah, so we lived in I think for the first 20-something years, I lived in Tennessee. I did not have an ice maker. I was the ice maker. So I have an ice maker. So whenever it makes noise, I'm like, thank you, universe. Lots of ice. And the big joke was whenever we would host functions, one of the things was a BYOB and a bag of ice. So anyway, so let's get on with it. I'm going to be using the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle. I love this deck. I love the Hero's Journey. It's inspired by Joseph Campbell's writings. And this will be a card that shares what space in that cycle, in the hero, let's call it the Shiro. In the Shiro's Journey, we will be pulling a card from this one. And it'll be what part of that journey we are in for next year as a collective. Okay. Then I'm switching it up. Normally I do animal cards, but this year I love this deck by Denise Linn, The Sacred Forest. It's one of, as I unpacked everything in this new house, I found even more decks that I didn't know that I have. And I'm be doing an office tour video soon so that you can see, because in the old office when I would do readings, basically it was like a little table and maybe a coffee cup. And that was about it because everything was packed because we were trying to move for like 6 years. But anyway, so this one I love. It is again by Denise Linn. And so this will be the medicine, the nature medicine that will support us through that journey process of next year. And then I will be doing the tried and true, and these are old school, as you'll see, like of different people that have done it. But these, you can get these now by Radley Valentine. I love him so much. The Angel Tarot deck. Now I'll be pulling one card for each month, so that'll be 12 cards from Angel Tarot deck, one for each month for the overarching energy of that month. Now, if you are like, oh, I love them, awesome. I put links down below in the description. If you have not purchased those and you're like, I need those for my deck library, because who doesn't have a million card decks? And like whenever we see one, we're like, ooh, that's pretty shiny object. I want to go get some. So I want to make it easy. If you want that deck, I just put Amazon links below. So, and I get a little kickback, helps the channel, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm gonna do this. Let's see who's here this morning. Alicia. Hey, girlfriend. Hey, Wendy. I am so excited you're here. I haven't seen your name pop up in forever. Hey, Kathy. Yeah. I love how you guys, you and Katie, are like, hello, calm shell. It's that time of year again. So yeah, the link for that is in the below. So that brings me to, the next little thing, which is, hey, if you love this, if you're an oldie and you know what this reading is, hey, Katie, if you know what this reading is, all my VIPs, you guys, if you have not already booked, a bunch of you have, if you've not already booked your annual session with me, the link has been emailed to you. If as of this video, the link is live for everybody. So even if you're not a VIP, VIPs get to do the pre-sale, which is they get a week in advance to book their annual session. So they get pick of dates. But now it's open to everybody. And I do think I have one, maybe 2 Saturdays left. But other than that, I have weekdays. I think I have about 7 spots left for the rest of the year. So if you want this reading for you, then go ahead and use that link that's in the description. Otherwise, this reading is actually for the collective. So it's overarching energy of everybody together. If you want just for you, let's talk and we'll sit down and do this. You get a Zoom. I record it. I put in a little PDF for you, and I mail everything to you or email everything to you. So you have it for reference over the next year. Anyway, so, okay, we're going to pull. Let's see. This one. Oh, we got 2. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. That's funny as crap. Okay. You'll see in a moment. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now we will pull. And I feel like we got 2 because we have a choice. That's the other thing. I feel like next year, my spirit is telling me next year, it's like, once we kind of all take a step back, because there's stuff that we're going to see. I mean, we have another Mercury retrograde coming at the end of this month, which I will do a video on too. That's on my, I have a list like as long as my 2 arms together to do videos on things. But Mercury retrograde is coming at the end of this month. We're going to see some interesting stuff. And I really do feel like, Next year is a choice, much like, and those of you who are on the spiritual journey and have been so on a very long time, remember back in like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, that time frame, there was this period of time where we were seeing timeline jumping or choice making. And you were witnessing like almost, I know I could anyway. I was seeing like almost like this super highway of dimensional energy converging, and then people choosing at that point which off ramp for that particular dimension that of experience that they want to be on. That's kind of what I feel, but there's only going to be like two choices next year. So it's like, do you want to stay in this experience or do you want to stay in that experience? And I think that's a big deal. And that's probably why we got two journeys. So I'll share that in a minute. Okay. Yes. Thank you. And now for our 12 months. And as I always say, no table is ever big enough when I do readings because I like to spread out. I have a little desk in my office, and now I'm at my kitchen table. And this still is like, at my kitchen table, it's a good big round seats for without the leaves in the kitchen table. Do I have enough room? I don't know. Dippy. Let's see. Okay. That's interesting. No, I do not. I don't have enough space. Okay. I have more than enough space all the time. That's the intention. So weird. Okay. Got it. Okay. All right. So next year, y'all, it's going to be the first half of the year. What I'm looking at is a lot of fire, which to me, fire is the creativity energy. Fire to me, when I see it in the elements, I look at that as like the in between, the actual manifesting of the thing, like the materialization of it happening. So like, thought, air and water is thought and emotion. Then you have fire, and then you have earth, and the Akasha is the fifth, but it's not represented in this deck. But anyway, so when I see fire, it is the in-between between the intent, the vibration, and the actual result. So lots of fire in the first 6 months of next year, which to me says, again, it affirms that idea of you're choosing, okay? I don't care who or what you're thinking right now about things, especially if you are in the US. I feel like we have a choice of how we want to show up. That is our superpower, how we want to show up. And as we make that choice, as we focus our energy of what we are for or against. So let me reframe this. So if we are for something, that's what we want. If we are against something, it is what we don't want. And to put that in manifesting terms, we want to focus on what we want, what we are for, not what we are against, which is what we don't want. So when you focus on what you're against, you're focusing on what you don't want. Where does energy flow? Energy flows where focus goes. Focus is on what you don't want. What are we getting? Okay, you get me? So figure out what you want to stand for, okay? Figure out, what do I want to do this year? What causes do I want to see thrive? What are they for rather than what are they against? That's where the focus needs to be going forward. If you keep fighting, if you are part of againstness, if you are part of factioning, you get more of that. If you are like, this is my cause, I want to help animals, I want to promote women's rights, I want to promote equal health care for everybody, I want to promote human rights for everyone, that's what you're for. If you're saying out your mouth, I'm for all of these things, and in your vibration is, I hate that person, organization, I'm against them. The universe speaks to your vibration, not what's coming out of your mouth. Your vibration has to be in joy, love, and abundance, soul alignment with the things that you're for: human rights, women's rights, healthcare for everybody, a country that serves everybody, that is welcoming for everybody, that is supposed to, support all of us together. That's actually the age of Aquarius, where we're going. So if we can focus on what we are wanting versus what we don't want, what we are willing to support, not what we're not supporting, what we are for, not what we are against, you get more of that than you do of this. But if you keep fighting and againstness and factioning, you get more of that. Just putting that out there as a lesson, because when I pulled the first card, which is supposed to be one card, I got two, which means there is a choice here. The first one is ally in disguise. Discover the hard to find blessing. And I think that is a biggie right now. Like, to me, I am huge on, when I look at something, where is my opportunity? Where is my opportunity to serve? Where is my opportunity to show up and share more love? Where is if I am an extension of source energy, just like you are an extension of this divine source energy. You are an extension of that amazing, unfathomable love. You are. That means I need to ask myself in every moment, no matter what is going on outside of me, in the world at large, if I am an expression of divine love and divine energy, how can I embody that in every interaction? I don't care who it is. And it doesn't necessarily mean you run up and hug like a porcupine. It means you can stand at a distance and say, I know that there is oneness here. They may not be exhibiting what I want to see, but the fact is, if I send them love, I'm sending me love. That doesn't mean I have to enjoy the expression. That doesn't mean that I have to like it. That just means, oh, balloons. Apparently this is balloons. Apparently, yes, that's what that, good to know. So apparently what I'm saying is correct, because I did not know how to do any of that. But yeah, ally in disguise. So know that there are people out there for you through this journey. We may witness somebody show up that is an ally in disguise. That's where, if we're focusing on what we want, what we're for, and what we want to see in the world, and we are expressing ourselves as the divine love which we are, that's what we will see in the world, and we will have allies in disguise. Now, I think this is also funny. The other thing is divine drunkenness, which is, when I first saw this, I was like, okay, first things first is kind of like, divine drunkenness to me is just reveling in the spirit. Okay. So surrendering to your spiritual reverie. So this is another option that we can take. We can kind of be either out there working for what we want with our ally in disguise, and I think this is kind of a double-pronged thing. Divine drunkenness to me is, you can either be in a spiritual bypass mode, or you can be in a very intensely surrendered space. And I think that's the other choice. Because I think there are two kinds of people out here. And those two kinds of people are people who take physical 3D action. And then, as Caroline Myss talks about, people that are more powerful, sitting in their meditative state, focused either by themselves or in a group, sending out the energy they want to see in the world, doing the visualizations. And that, to me, is that big surrender to your spiritual reverie. This is almost an in the cave kind of thing. This could be people witnessing and working with their shadow, which I think is something that's really big going on right now. We are all witnessing the shadow of the collective, which is in part our own shadows, that we all need to work on together and heal. But I think that divine drunkenness thing that's going to be overarching next year is, how do I surrender to that spiritual reverie even more? How do I, like, we all of us here have probably been like, I've been doing my shadow work. I don't need to witness the collective, la, 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 la. Okay, listen. It's almost like when, I'm not I want to say this. I'm not a huge fan of Gabby Bernstein. She's a wonderful individual. She does good things, but she's not my cup of tea. But she did say something that does resonate. So I don't really, I like the message more than the messenger in this. I mean, I love her. If she's your jam, great. She's not I'm not in her space right now. But she does say something that I like. And it's like, if you think you've surrendered all you can, go ahead and surrender some more. That's what this is about. Go ahead and surrender some more. Know that the universe still has your back no matter what is going on. And the fact is also, we all, I think, forget that this is where our ultimate power is. Okay, so again, I go back to what I said earlier, which was I feel like my calling for this year, and the calling for a lot, and I've shared this, I think, I shared this during the Samhain reading, is that as women, regardless of what's going on, it's time for us to step back up into our magic. I feel like a lot of us have let our practices go by the wayside. And it's time for us to not only re-embrace the practices we love and keep the ones we love, but it's also a time for us to embrace new ritual. Get like waist deep in that ritual. Join in a circle of ritual. I mean, that kind of stuff is what we need to have. So that to me is divine drunkenness. I think I'm going to probably buy into this one. I do love that, but I thought that was so funny that showed up. It's like you get to have two options here, which is nice. Now, this is really fun because it kind of plays into that. Like, what is the medicine that we need to navigate next year? You can't make this shit up. Magic. That is what we need. It's the magical enchantment, the moonlight enchantment, which is magical. Like this is why I do moon circles every month, is because I feel like we're like, it's the divine feminine. It is where we all can come together and take a pause and plan and then be in gratitude and harvest. And I'm going to build on that magic. I want you to build on that magic, leaning into our magic, our power, our empowerment, our skill sets, all of that stuff, and expanding our knowledge in that power is huge for next year. And that's where we're going to find our solace. So when you have those moments of being in the cave and your shadow is, or as I call it with my clients, your itty bitty shitty committee is talking smack to you, lean into your magic. That's where we're going to find the safe harbor within ourselves, within our world, as we witness the collective dealing with its own shadow experience right now. So as we do that, I feel like the first 6 months, as I'm looking at the next 12 cards, the first 6 months, lots of fire. So mind your mind, because there's going to be lots of manifesting. And if we really lean into where we are in the journey and the magic we need to cultivate within ourselves, within our communities, that to me is huge. So, and then the second half of the year, we have major arcana cards, 2 of them, and then lots of like water and air. So love and thought, so heart and brain happening. So let's kind of dive in. I need a sip. And Buddy just wandered off because he's like, I don't want to hear mommy yammering. Okay, so card number 1. This is for January. We have the 5 of fire. So I think in January, we still will be seeing this same conflict that we're seeing. It won't be as much and it won't be as heightened, but as we kind of go through January, I feel like we're going to still be seeing this kind of conflict where people are still in their otherness, in their againstness, in their pain right now. No matter who it is, whether it is somebody on one side that is very upset and very sad, or somebody on the other side who might be jubilant, but is also not being very understanding of other people's feelings or sadness. And, I want to say this. All feelings are valid. All behaviors are not. And that is a sweeping statement for everyone. So remember, your feelings are valid. Learning how to navigate and express those feelings, I'm wondering if that's part of this shadow thing, to do so in a way that creates community amongst each other and having conversations where people are not screaming, but actually learning to listen even more and be collaborative in their discussions. But January is not going to be that month, my friends. So if you are an intuitive, if you are a sensitive, I am going to say in January, you may want to, as you may be doing right now, limit your time on socials like Facebook, Instagram, any of the socials where people, I'm not on the threads. I think I might have an account. I have no idea. I don't do the tweeting or the X, whatever it is. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm over here in YouTube inviting people to be a community of in love, joy, and abundance. That's my jam. That's what I want to cultivate. So, yes, I have a Facebook page. Yes, I have an Instagram, but I am not spending a crap ton of time over there right now because it doesn't matter which camp people are in. It just feels like everyone is screaming. And I get it. I get that. I get how feelings are knee deep right now. But again, all feelings are valid. All behaviors are not. And that's where I stand on this. So I think that is going to be a theme going into January as well. And it is what it is. So I'm just going to leave that there. But remember, in January, again, that's going to be an inner turmoil too, I think, for everybody. Because if we're doing competing goals in that 5 of fire, we're going to witness it. And the question is, do we internalize it or do we decide I am the only thinker in my mind? No other person, place, or thing has any control over me. And then you're going to set your own intention and your own vibration in January. It's going to be a challenge because that energy is there. So I'm going to encourage you to take back your magic and your power. Maybe, I'm going to, like, anybody who is getting their 2025 reading with me will be getting a free golden ticket to my January workshop. And maybe that's the theme, learning how to be and do your magic that's best for you in the face of what's going on. So, I'm still working on that theme, but I feel like that's going to be something we need to do. So learning how to listen to your inner voice versus being influenced by the outside. That's January. Then we have Queen of Fire, which I really feel like once we kind of come through January, the Queen of Fire is interesting. So February, Queen of Fire is confident, warm, intelligent, and gentle. It is the divine feminine energy in creativity. So I feel like people will be choosing, once we've had our moment to kind of process everything, women will show up again. We will show up again in force. And maybe in a way that is more energetic, we're just going to live our lives. And we're going to live so in such authenticity that you cannot deny us. I mean, I feel like that's a big deal. It's not going to be this big open thing, but I feel like it's really going to be, the movement of the woman is going to be born out of, we're just doing our thing and you can't stop us. We're just going to do our thing and we're here to stay, and that's it. And the Queen of Fire talks about stretching your wings and flying. Don't underestimate yourself, and assert your independence and creativity. That's what the card says. So that's why I keep feeling like February is going to be, we talk about February being the month of love and romanticism and romanticizing things. I feel like the love that's going to be there is us regaining the love of who we are as women, the love of our empowered self, the love of the divine feminine, the healer within. Whether you're a kitchen witch, a green witch, a chaos witch, or whatever your jam is, like whatever that is, find out what it is and lean in. And that February is where we're all going to kind of be like, okay, let's get on the stick and get this going. Okay. And then we have a life lesson. But I love this because in March we have Star, which is Archangel Jophiel. Jophiel is over beauty. And so this is why I feel like there's a lot of womanly energy, divine feminine energy in this first 6 months for sure. Because I have a lot of it's like woman energy. There's a lot of juggling stuff energy, which we do. Let's be honest. We all do that a lot better than than most men. You know, I love men. I love, like I said in my post on Facebook, I am so grateful to have such a loving and supportive partner that, you know, advocates even for when I'm advocates for me even when I'm not in the room. But like, I feel like, you know, women tend to juggle a lot more, whether it be business and home and organizing and all that kind of stuff. And so we're just kind of a little bit better than that. And we are kind of embracing that. We're taking back, like, we're using that for ourselves now, not just and I think I do this every morning when I do my morning ritual, and I say things like, I do my 4 agreements, and one of them is like the mind one is, I release myself from taking things personally and making assumptions. And whatever I think is kind, compassionate, and loving towards myself. And I ground everything I'm thinking in gratitude and love. And I do focus it inward, because if I can be okay with that and I am loving me, that makes it easier for me to be empathetic and loving towards others. So love self first and then others. And that's why I feel like February is going to be that big transition for a lot of women of like stepping into who we are meant to be. And then March coming with the star is happy times, positive, optimistic, long-term plans, and getting on that right path. I feel like it's going to be a slow ramp up. And then we are all going to be really realizing where we need to go. It's going to be really interesting. Like the first 2 months are going to be like finding our footing. And then we're like off to the races. Let's do this. And then in April, we have 8 of Fire. Because once you have a big card, like the star, like a big swing of the pendulum in one direction, what happens is when everyone starts getting going, you get 8 of Fire, which is like, oh my God, look at everything going on right now. We have so much on our plate. We have so much to do. You know, I think that's where we'll be manifesting. So the lesson will come where we're like, boom, off to the races. We got our plans. We kind of like got our footing again, made our plans. And now we're manifesting a lot of stuff to do to get the things done, whether it's manifesting like an energy circle. Like if you have not read The Power of 8, which I love, by Lynn McTaggart, it talks about collective energy focus in a much more clinical, it's very much a clinical book, but, and by clinical, I mean like studies and white paper. So if you like science and all that crap, it's a great book that talks about like the power of prayer, the power of focused energy, and having a minimum of 8 people to do something is awesome. So it might be like planning circles. It might be actually planning people going out and doing things. And then we're just going to see stuff ramp up at a fast pace in April, whether we're witnessing the outward or the inward. So again, this is collective. And I feel like there's going to be just a collective, just that first 6 months, lots of stuff going on of taking back our power. And by that, I mean, we're realizing, I don't care what side you're on, the mind, I am the only thinker in my mind. No person, place, or thing has any control over me. That's going to be a big deal coming up. It's going to, like right now, you have so many people telling you what to think, depending on where your core values are. And I feel like because of that, that's what's causing this factioning. And that's going to go away, whether by choice or by breakdown of something. I don't know. But that's why the first 3 months are so important. And then all of a sudden it's like, we got work to do. And then we have 9 of Fire. And I love the warrior girl in this. I love the warrior woman here, 9 of Fire. That to me is like, once the work to do starts manifesting, you'll have a bump up against it manifesting. So in that May timeframe, I think a lot of times a couple of things happen when we get on the right path. When we are on the path that we know we're supposed to be on, if things either are hard to get done or we're waiting for other pieces to fall into place, a lot of times our itty bitty shitty committee gets loud and it's kind of like telling us all the ways things aren't working and all of the ways that we're doing something wrong or we should be guilty or, or we're getting run over or whatever. because of how fast stuff was moving. But this is a reminder. This energy for May is a reminder. Do not give up. Don't give up just because something isn't manifesting like this, because there will still be this conflict and resistance as we move through, because it's still there. So in May, know that the cake is baking in the oven. Think of, all of our intentions like a souffle. And if you keep opening the oven to look at it, it's going to fall. But you have to let it in there, and you have to be in faith that everything's going to come out perfect. And with that, in May, the 9 of fire is manifest the hope, manifest knowing it's time to protect what we've created. It's time to not give up. It's time to have courage and believe in yourself, and to have faith in your fellow person. I really think that's a big deal too. I think that there's going to be something that's going on that puts us back to a space of seeing each other as human beings. And in doing so, that's part of this shadow work. So in May, do not give up faith. But that does, again, I want to preface with a lot of this stuff. We have to remember, like when people talk about forgiveness, it's like, I forgive you, but I don't condone the behavior. So it's, I love you because we are all one, but do I want to sit next to you at dinner sometimes, or choose or go give you a big hug when you're all prickly? Probably not. But it's okay, holding both things at the same time can be okay. And rather, it might not be okay, it might not feel good, but we can do it. We can do it. And that's part of moving forward, is being like, okay, here's what's going on. Do I like it? No. Can I hold the understanding of what has happened? The acceptance of what is, and that I don't like it at the same time? Yes. Can I witness what is and choose to do other things at the same time? Yes. That's what we have to do moving forward. And that's what I'm seeing as the fire part of this whole thing is, we're going to have those moments of this throughout the first 6 months. And then at the end, it's that May card is very, don't give up. Protect what you created and built. Know that you are still on the right path of the star. It's there, because at the end, in June, at the end of that first 6 months, we have the Queen of Earth, which to me is the divine feminine of, I have manifested the things that I want: thoughtful, creative, warm, sensible. Making time for those around you. Take a sensible approach and deal with challenges in a kind and understanding manner. That's what I was just talking about. That's the result of what we have going on if we focus our energy on what we are for, not on what we are against. And the energy of that first 6 months is there. We just need to know in January and February, we got to kind of really be in charge of our thought process, really be in charge of our feelings, because it's the only thing we can control. Saying stuff like, that person made me think, do, say, no more. That's not an excuse. Does it mean you don't have reaction to when people do or say things? No. But it does mean that you do have the choice to take a pause and say, how do I want to respond, not react to that? Am I going to participate in that and mirror that, but from a different perspective? Or am I going to say, and it was so beautiful, I watched a friend of mine interact with somebody on her Facebook page, and I was like, oh my God, I just got schooled by witnessing this. Like, how to be in that space of, like, in those conversations without being triggered. I was like, oh my gosh, this person, my friend, is such a goddess over this. She was like, well, how would you like me to respond to your comment? And what is the goal of our conversation here, so that I can participate accordingly? That was so beautiful. And of course, she just stayed in that space, which gave her, like, I know that gave her peace. And everybody around her was like, ah! And I was like, oh man, that is the space I want to stay in. And that's what I feel like we need to stay in, that space, for all of this to be where we need it to be. And I know it's going to get there. It's just how you choose as an individual in the collective is going to dictate whether, or not, it's going to feel good. But I feel like as a collective, we're going to reach that good space, especially by June. And then, and by good space, I want to be really clear. It's going to be like what we are feeling, not what we're seeing, but what we are choosing to feel. Because here's the thing. I think in general, we are witnessing a shift, but people forget humans don't like change. They just don't. And they fight against it, especially the ones that have been around the longest. They fight against it if they don't see how it's going to support them, as opposed to saying, I'm going to step out on a limb here and say, I hope it supports all of us. So remember, there is a lot of stuff going on right now that you have forces that we talk about transformation in the age of Aquarius, and it's going to be beautiful and wonderful. But the thing is, everyone thinks like much like the spiritual journey, it's like unicorns and Skittles and rainbows and things and sparkles. When in actuality, the spiritual journey is like you're clutching your crystal going, please, let's get through this. How do I do this? Let me find some people that are like, like that's the whole thing. And when we step into focusing on what we want versus what we don't want and seeing the opportunity of how we're going to show up in the situation we maybe don't like, where's the, like, if there was nothing, if everything was status quo, we'd have no opportunity to be like, look at how wonderful women are. We are a very powerful force to be reckoned with. And it's time for us to step forward. Otherwise, we might be like, yeah, I'm great. And I love Susan B. Anthony, blah, blah, blah. But this is saying, here, you have an opportunity to step forward and shine your light in a way that is going to be like the kind of light that puts out the darkness. Okay, that's what I'm seeing in that first 6 months. Now, the second 6 months, we have a lot more water and a lot more air and 2 big lessons. Okay, so let's go through this. So in July, 3 of water, celebration. Woohoo! So we're going to be collectively celebrating something in July. It talks about a wedding, graduation, birth announcement, the need to have more fun. And I think that July, if there is something this country needs, and all of us in general across the globe need, because we are flipping tired, we're exhausted, and we just need a little more fun. So I think July, if there is a way for you to have fun in a true and authentic way, I don't care if it's going and finding your posse, your girl posse, and going on vacation. I don't care if it is, celebrating just doing your things. I feel like July is going to be a month where we need to have some fun. So embrace the fun, because we are so serious. And I'm not saying don't take things seriously, but you're gonna, like, getting off that stress hamster wheel is definitely needed. And that, and it, it's kind of like a prelude to August, which is balance. And that's Zadkiel. And Zadkiel is very big on self-care, very big on it. Needing for balance and moderation, cooperation, compromise, waiting for perfect timing. So in August, we might have a slowdown in whatever it is we're doing as a collective, as group of smaller groups of people, as friends, or even in your life, you might have that slowdown. And that slowdown can be frustrating. I know a friend of mine I was talking to yesterday, I hadn't talked to her in a while, we were emailing, and she was like, oh, I broke my ankle, and I have to stay off it for like all these weeks, and it's making me so frustrated, but I know the universe is telling me to slow down. So she's like, so I'm holding frustration and striving to slow down at the same time. That's what that balance is going to, that first card in July is like, yay, let's have some fun. And then we're going to have so much fun, we might not want to get serious again, but we need to. So creating that balance of doing and being, because we are human beings, we're not human doings, but we do in the 3D, and then we be. So we chop wood and carry water, and then we rest. Okay, so that's going to be a big concept that the entirety of the world is going to have to look at, making balance for themselves and in general for each other. And so here's the other thing I think this is, since this is a collective thing, if you have a friend and a loved one that you see burning the candle at both ends, and maybe encourage them to do some more self-care. Maybe invite them out to a spa day or over for dinner or a cup of tea and a chat. call them on the phone. I feel like these months at the second half of the year is going to be really important to send what I like to call love notes. Some of you have gotten them from me, where spirit, like sometimes in the morning, I will, in my morning ritual, I will sit and I will ask spirit, who needs a love note today? And sometimes I'll just send love notes out saying something like, spirit has told me that you need a virtual hug today, or maybe you need to talk, whatever it is, know that I'm here. And I just hit send because I want and know that you're loved, because I think people need that. So if that's something that is on your heart to do, that's something you can do too. And I feel like the second half of next year is going to be big on people just reaching out to each other and loving on each other and creating that balance between getting things done and taking care of ourselves. That's huge. And then in September, we have 7 of air, all of our little unicorns. 7 of air. Air is thought, thinking, mind. So it's almost like we get to this part of the year and we need to look at what we've been doing and review it, revise it. There's more going on than meets the eye. So we need to really review what are the plans or what's going on. What's going on here? Things might be not going as fast as we want. Things might not be moving, or it might even be we've been through a lot, because by this time it'll be 9 months, and 9 months it takes to make a baby and to create things. So at that 9-month period, we might be looking at things and going, okay, what worked? What didn't? What are we keeping? What are we letting go? And what new things might we try? That like stop, start, keep thing that they do in corporate America. Like, that's that month. So really thinking about what we're doing and maybe revising things, because we might not have we didn't know what we didn't know before. And now we have 2020 hindsight. We can review and revise to move forward. And then in Q4 of next year, we have Ace of Water. And I love the Ace of Water. Water is love and emotion. And Ace is the purest form of that. So I feel like come October, and I always feel like October is one of those months, that people love. It doesn't matter who you are. It's like you can be whatever faith or no faith. You can be whatever kind of person you are. Every form of human on the planet. In the US, I think Halloween or Samhain is like the favorite holiday month of the year, because it encourages people to be who and whatever they want. It encourages everybody to really embrace our humanity and the spirit of our ancestors and all that kind of stuff. And it says it's a falling in love or the resurgence of a relationship, spiritual growth, and enhanced intuition, and a new home. So I'm wondering if in October, that overflowing of love of, and people, I don't know about y'all, but recently I have kind of gotten into the habit of driving around and looking at Halloween decorations like I did look when I was a kid, looking at Christmas lights, which I still do, by the way. I want to be really clear. I still decorate and look at I love me some Christmas. But I feel like this is going to be a resurgence of love. And I know right now that may seem so far off and so far-fetched, but it'll be such a resurgence of love for your fellow human. I think it'll be because there will be a transformation of thought going forward. And I hope that's the case. And I also hope it's not because of some big thing that brings us all together. Because a lot of times tragedies do that. And I hope that that's not it, because I feel like we need this unification of love and tapping into that oneness that we all are from. So October to me next year feels like a coming back together of collective thought process and moving forward. And as that pendulum, like you have that ace, which is like the epitome of love, the epitome of heart. And then the next is 9 of air. And again, air is about thought. And the 9 to me is like the epitome of the thought. And we always think to ourselves, the brain and the heart are always at odds with each other. Because when our heart starts talking about how great everything is and how we love each other and how we need to work together, then the brain comes in and is like, well, you know, no, you got to do it for you. Like, it's almost like that backlash will be in. So I'm going to say that November of next year, because it says expecting the word self-fulfilling prophecies, which is like manifesting the opposite of what you want. You're actually manifesting what you don't want. And that thought process needs to change. It says sleepless nights. So November might be either that event, it might be the backlash against people. Like there's a lot of, when someone wants to control a people, it divides the people so that they are fighting against each other versus uniting against a common, cause. And I feel like in October, people will start becoming united again. And then in November, that the powers that be will be like, oh crap, we can't have that business. And they'll start, trying to faction up again. And I feel like that it's almost like if you buy into it, you'll get what you get. If you don't, you'll stay in that space of, wait a minute, you'll kind of be like, wait a minute. That is not what I think about that person. And I see this, and it's not, I believe this or that. It's, I see you for what you are, and you're trying to make me hate somebody that is other than me again, so that you can have power over both of us. Because if I'm too busy fighting with somebody else, I can't stand up for what I need to stand up for over here. So I feel like that's going to try and happen again at the end of the year at the same time, same bat channel next year. But the Chariot. I feel like the Chariot coming in December is big. And Metatron. Archangel Metatron. Metatron is one of two archangels that was human at one point, and God elevated them to archangel status as they raised them up. And I believe Metatron was Enoch. And there is a book of Enoch. It is not in the Bible, but you can still read it and get it on the Amazon. But Metatron is like the scribe of God. Metatron is the teacher of God's message. And I feel like that the Chariot's coming to be like, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing. I used to joke with a friend of mine years and years ago. She's since passed, and I love her to pieces. And I would say to her, the 10 Commandments, like people think the Bible and this, that, the 10 Commandments are pretty easy. That's why God gave them. He knew I created humans, and humans are really kind of a hot mess. And they like to complicate shit left, right, and center. So I'm just going to give them 10 rules to live by. And I don't need to caveat or sub out and carve out any of the 10 rules. So here's the tablets. Here you go. Have a nice day. And then there was everything got layered and layered and layered and layered and layered. I said to her, during the Super Bowl, if God wanted to kind of like rectify all this shit, he could come down and be like, let's get the dry erase board out and go through the 10 rules again, because y'all seem to have messed this up. And I feel like that's what December of next year is. It says an important achievement. I think that'll be big. Self-discipline and willpower and public recognition. I feel like that there will be this movement like I'm talking about, and in December, it'll be recognized. I feel like the teachings of not one particular doctrine, religious doctrine, will be what is celebrated. It'll be more like the overarching understanding or lack of understanding of what that source energy, God, the creator, is, will be much more clear, and understanding that we are all one. Does that mean UFOs are real and aliens are coming and we all have to, like in Independence Day, that movie where everybody's like, well, I guess we all got to be friends now because we have a common, I don't know if that's it. I don't know if it's something else, but it's almost like that's what I feel. We'll have a lot of fire next year, and then all of a sudden it's going to just be like, okay, we need to be united together. It might come sooner than later. I don't know, but that's what I'm seeing. And I feel like all of this all of this stuff that's going to go on next year as women, I feel like women are just such a component here that we have to stop being relegated to the sideline no matter what, whether it's papered or whether it's papered, which is legislative, or adjudicated case law kind of stuff. I don't care about that. I care about, like, you need to do your magic, and your magic is your power. Like, that's the whole thing. I think people think magic's like Harry Potter and all this other shit. No. A woman's magic is her standing in her authenticity, is unapologetically standing in her authenticity. And when we do that, all of this will come in a way that is more natural. It's almost like we can just change the world by tapping on it with our little finger. And just looking at messages again. It's like the year of the woman. I know it doesn't feel like it considering what just happened, but I feel it is much like the year of the woman, and not in the same way as last time, like in 2017. I feel like this is the year of the woman in a way where we show up not as angry, but that divine feminine rising, which is actually what's going on. But the divine feminine rising, no matter what, it's almost an invitation for us to step into our power, for us to step into sharing who we are, not being silenced, not being okay with the status quo. Let me rephrase to what we're for. We are for equality for each other. We are for lifting up each other. We are for, no matter who it is, no tearing down of everybody else, always lifting up another woman. Even if you don't agree with her, she has, in this, right now in this country, I forget, I think it was Patrick Henry, I may not agree with you, but you have a full right to your belief. You have a full right to it, and I get that. I don't agree with some things. I don't agree with a lot of things. But the fact is, as women, we need to stand together and support each other and live by example to other women, to lift them up. That's what I'm seeing. Whether you are doing it being an ally in disguise, or you are doing it through spiritual drunkenness or divine drunkenness, where you're doing your shadow work. Because as we do our shadow work, we do even better and more work. I love myself, and doing all the stuff about that, like saying, I am compassionate, loving, and kind to myself first. Stop beating yourself up over not being enough, or not doing enough, or not thinking enough, or not knowing what you should have known before. Stop it. Stop it, my darlings. Stop. This whole year is all about you stopping doing that. And not only stopping doing that, loving yourself so much that you love everybody else around you. Because that is the way to stop factioning, to stop the againstness, to really kind of start bringing in that age of Aquarius feeling of companionship to each other, of support for each other, of building things together that support many instead of the one. That's what this year of transition is going to be about. So lean in there, no matter what's going on outside, no matter what is going on outside. And a book I'm going to recommend everyone read. I love this book. It is probably, like, I have to say, it is one of my favorite books I've ever read in my entire 52 years. And it's called The Choice. It's by Dr. Edith Eger. She's like 95. I'm not even sure if she's still alive. I think she is. I don't think she's passed away. But her book is amazing, and it is about the same choice. She was a prisoner in a Nazi concentration camp, and it's basically, it's a feminine version of Viktor Frankl's book about, and I forget the name of the book. It escapes me, but her book is like a feminine version of it. And so I encourage everyone to read that book. I think it is so important, and it is so on point for right now. and beyond. So highly recommend you read that book, especially as we head into next year with this reading. So I love you guys so much. Does anyone have any questions about this really quick? I'm not pulling cards for anybody, but if you need expansion on something, I'm going to pull up the comments and just kind of run through them. Let's see. Come on now. Oh, we got lots of comments. Okay. Let's see. Alicia's here. Hey, Alicia. Wendy. I know. I'm so glad you're here too. You always kind of have missing things, Wendy. Kathy. Oh, hey, Kathy. Yeah, Kathy, you need to book your session if you haven't already done so. Hi, Liz. I saw yours come through. I love how Alicia and Liz are having a conversation. Sharon. Hey, Sharon. Let's see. Let's see. I had already decided to go into the spiritual reverie route. Okay, so Liz already is declaring divine drunkenness. Awesome. I'm with you. You and me, sister. Meaning to do a deep dive on my spiritual side and send out positive vibes. Yes, girl. Definitely need to watch this again. And you talk faster than I can write. Well, isn't it great that this is going to have replay forever? So you'll have this, and then we'll do yours too. And then Wendy says, "Oh boy, sister, whom I adore, I just called from Berlin and I missed them. Will you share again?" Wendy, just everybody watching, this will be right here on the channel, on the Soul Coach Studio channel. Make sure you subscribe, like, click the bell, all that business. And you can come back and watch this over and over, and you'll have it for the whole year of next year. And you can replay it if you need to as we kind of go through things together. If you want your personal one, again, I have a link to have a link for you to book your own if you want to do this from a personal perspective, like what within this overarching energy, what's my role in it? That's that reading. And I have people, I've been doing this for 7 or 8 years. I think Kathy and I were talking about this last year about how she's been with me the whole time. She has, and she keeps them, because what I do is we do our Zoom, but I record it and then I take a picture of your spread and I put it in like a little PDF so that you can listen or watch and then have your spread out there so you can refer back to it. And she's like, I have all of them in a loose leaf binder. So it's really fun for people when they do their personal one to have it as a reference guide to the year. And yes, people do get readings throughout the year anyway to kind of hone in on certain aspects and what's going on. But just so y'all are aware, I do only have a limited number of these spots left. So I think there's like 7 spots left. So if you have not already booked, the link is now, the calendar's open to everybody now. The link is in the description. You can go ahead and grab you a session. It's $197. Normally I charge over $200 for a reading. So $197, it's a little bit of a discount because it is that special time of year. And you get your reading, you get your replay, your PDF, and a golden ticket to our January workshop. So there's that. Just want to make sure I hit everything that I wanted to. But yeah, I love this reading. This reading for me, and I want to thank my friend Roy from Aroma G's, because he is the one that inspired me to create this spread. We talked about it years and years and years and years and years ago. He was like, why are you not doing your own tarot spreads? Why are you not creating your own spreads? And I was like, that's a thing. I didn't know. So yeah, I did this one, and it has served so many people over the years. So if you want your own, sign up and I'll see you on my calendar. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. I love you guys so much. It's going to be an interesting year. Know that you are not alone. Like, just all of the people who joined today, like that in itself is a community, a circle of women who are really standing together. Remember, it's your ally in disguise or your divine drunkenness. So it's either that 3D activist thing, or that activist from a divine perspective, from an energetic perspective. And then embracing our magic is going to be that medicine that helps us throughout this fiery and watery, like there's lots and lots of fire in the first half, and then water and love and thought in the second half. And just kind of like magic's going to get us through this. It really is. And no, magic isn't like waving the wand like Harry Potter. Your magic is going back and leaning into that inner work, your ritual, the stuff that really brings your heart brings your heart joy, and really just takes you into a space of creating the stuff you want versus the stuff you don't want. Okay, because that's our focus. Focus on what you are for, not what you are against. That's where your energy and magic will serve you best. Anyway, that's all for today. For this year, I can't believe it. I'll be doing other videos, but this, like for readings, I'll probably be doing a Mercury retrograde reading next week. Because I do want to start getting into that how to thrive through Mercury retrograde, especially because this one's going to be right at the end of the year as we're having holidays. Isn't that a joy? And I don't know about you, but I'll already give you a little preview. And the fact is that I think this next one, I haven't really looked at anything, but what I've been witnessing, because we're not even in the shadow yet, we're heading into the shadow, a lot of like electronics glitches. I don't know what's going on there, but our electronics glitches yesterday, like I've been trying to send an email to my vet for like 3 days, and they're like, well, I don't know. And so now I'm asking one vet to send stuff to the other vet. So I don't know how we're going to do that, but the electronics thing is going to be interesting, and it's all communications. I'll talk about that in the upcoming video. But for right now, I love you so much. Thank you for sticking all the way to the end. I appreciate you. And I mean, I wouldn't be doing this unless it was for you guys. And I am so grateful. Infinite love and gratitude to every single one of you. I love you so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Beautiful rest of your week. I know there's a lot of feels going on. Know that I am loving you and holding space for you. And as we head into next year, focus on love, joy, and abundance. That is your soul alignment. And that will hold true for you. So until next time, I will see you in the vortex. And until then, I love you all so much. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye for now as I reach to end it. But love you. Bye.